My name is Chastity Harvey, and I'm the executive chef here at the Whiskey in Orlando. And today we're going to be making our old-fashioned duck sliders. We're going to start with our ground duck. This is breast and thighs. Very fatty. We put it through a buffalo chopper first and then through a grinder. Very fine, finer than your ground beef. And then what we're going to do is we're going to break down this chorizo, cut into smaller pieces, so taking off the outer parts of it would be a little bit easier. So what we're going to do is we're going to cut a small slit in the back and get our little finger in here. And then it's going to run along the whole sausage. So you want to make sure that you take this off. A lot of salamis have it, but sometimes, they're cut so thin you don't really notice it. But this is going to be a big problem if you try to put it in your food processor and then put it into some duck, because you're going to pull it out of your teeth. And we're going to cut it into small pieces. So it's not about ½ inch to an inch. So it doesn't take us very long to put it in our food processor. We're going to get these in here. One more piece. It's going to be a 3-to-1 ratio. So 3 pounds of duck breast is what we have here. And already added a little bit of it for flavoring. You don't want to add any extra salt or paprika or garlic powder because the chorizo is very flavorful and has so much to offer to the duck. So we're going to throw this in here and we're going to let it ride. As you can see in the beginning, you'll be like, oh no, this is not the way it's supposed to go. But it is. You're going to let it just keep going. If you let it go too long, the fat inside of it is going to make it turn into a paste. So you want to make sure that you're doing it to where it's like nice and fine, about the same size as a seasoning like oregano. And then I can start to see that the consistency is getting there. So we're going to open it and we're going to take a look. You see that we still have some whole pieces. So we're going to throw back in there for a couple more seconds. All right. All right, now we've got the consistency that we want. You can see it in here. Perfect. So what we're going to do is we're going to take this and we're going to toss it inside of our duck. Now when mixing the duck, you always want to start from the bottom. It's the part that gets neglected all the time. So we're going to pull it up and then just keep folding it, almost kind of like you're kneading bread. And then see how nice and blended it is. If you push it down, you'll be able to see these red flexes. There's not like a whole group of them anywhere. It's nice and evenly distributed. And then we're going to take like it's about probably 3 ounces, 3.5. We're going to put it in the palm of our hand, push it there, because that's about the size of our slider buns. So we're just going to cap it, and then perfect. Ready to be grilled. All right, this is going to be our old-fashioned aioli. We're going to use the same components that we use in our whiskey old-fashioned here. So we're going to start with 6 egg yolks and put them in your processor. This guy back on here the right way. And we're going to get it going. As it's going, we're going to put in some of the honey, about half of the honey. That's going to be what helps emulsify everything. Now, before we add the oil, we're going to start with a little bit of our Jack Daniels and some of the cherry juice in the beginning. Slowly add it, and then 1 cherry at a time so it gets incorporated. It turns a nice red color. And then we're slowly going to pour canola oil in. You want to be careful to not overdo the oil. You can make it very thick, or it can completely thin out or break and completely separate. And just take a look. Sometimes your consistency for aioli is going to be different than how you like your mayonnaise. All right? It's always good to check it. It's a good consistency. It almost kind of looks like strawberry yogurt a little bit due to the cherries. You can see the pieces and flecks of the cherries in there. We want those pieces. Those are very candied, sweet surprises that are going to be in here. So we're going to take our raw cane sugar and we're going to go around and close it back up. Allow it to keep going. Add the final parts of our Jack Daniels. That was the honey. And I'll thin it out a little bit because it is kind of a little thick. So you always want to thin it out with one of the components rather than adding water and diluting it. Then we're going to add a couple pinches of salt. All right. Give it time to combine everything, and perfect. It smells like an old-fashioned, it tastes like an old-fashioned, and it's going to be a phenomenal addition to our duck sliders. All right, and now another component to our dish is going to be a light marinade of diced tomatoes. As I put a little bit of oil in here already, so they can just sit in it, get all nice and beautiful. We're going to add about an ounce of red wine vinegar, an ounce of honey for slight sweetness. And I like to do this before we grill off the burger so it has time to kind of sit in the marinade, kind of collect all those juices. Then we're going to add some salt. Kind of bring all the flavors out. Mix it together. Beautiful. All right, so now we're going to grill off our chorizo duck sliders. We're going to put them directly on the grill. Make sure that they're a little even. We're going to allow them to completely cook through. So well done is going to be how we're going to cook them. A lot of people think that you can't have duck mid-rare or medium, which is not true. I love it. It's my favorite, one of my favorite foods. So what we're going to do is we're going to completely cook these through. It's going to be about 3 minutes on each side. I'm about to flip them in about 1.5 minutes to put marks on both sides of them. If you try to do it before it's completely cooked on one side, you're going to rip it in half. It will stick. So we're going to let them ride for a minute. All right. So we're going to to mark them, we're just going to move them over a little turn. Boop. All right, so now we're going to flip them over. Boop. Without them going crazy. Nice marks. Just flatten them out. Make sure that sometimes they bow up in the middle, so you want to just make sure that they're equally the same size. Now we're going to let these cook on this side. Now we're going to start assembling our duck sliders. So first, what we're going to do is we're going to put a little bit of canola oil in with our arugula, so it's not extremely bitter or peppery, as some people would say. Oop, runaways. And we're going to put this as the base on the bottom to kind of collect some of the juices that are going to run off from the sliders. We're going to put a little bit of tomatoes, marinated tomatoes that we made earlier on here. Just so the duck will actually be able to hold it on here for us. They're not sliding off or tumbling off. And we're going to take our duck sliders. I'm going to put a little bit of our old-fashioned aioli on top of here. Then we're going to take some of our house-made creamy brie sauce and put it right on the top of the bun and thin it out right there. I'm going to pop that right on top of there. And then to kind of hold everything in place, I'm going to take some of these bamboo skewers and put them right in the middle. Here we are. And those are our duck and chorizo sliders.